all you need to know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning. We're just a few hours away from D-Day. It's counting day tomorrow and we'll know for certain the outcome of the general elections. Now, if yesterday was any indication, we're going to be bracing for another volatile session in the markets today. I'm Alex Matthew and this is the daily morning update from Bloomberg Quint. Today is the 22nd of May. The rupee gained slightly against the dollar and the yield on the 10-year benchmark bond ended nearly flat, but the equity markets saw a sharp drop. Perhaps because of the run that was seen on Monday, the benchmarks closed lower by about 1% each. What is interesting to note is that in yesterday's session, foreign institutional investors net bought 1,185 crore worth of Indian equity, while domestic institutional investors net sold equity worth just under 1,100 crore. Now here's the big news this morning. Dewan Housing Finance has decided to stop taking fresh deposits and halted premature withdrawals from its existing deposit schemes as it tries to manage its tight liquidity position and deal with pressure on credit ratings. In a note that it sent out to its depositors and financial planners, it said, and I quote, "In view of the recent revision in the credit rating of our fixed deposit program, acceptance of all fresh deposits as well as renewals has been put on hold with immediate effect." Unquote. Bloomberg Quint has sent a query to the company by email and is still awaiting a response at the time of recording this podcast. For more details, do look up the story on the website bloombergquint.com. The Central Board of the Reserve Bank of India yesterday decided to strengthen its supervisory capabilities by creating a new cadre of officials who will be trained for supervision of banks and non-bank lenders. In other news, the National Stock Exchange has moved the Securities Appellate Tribunal, challenging the Securities and Exchange Board of India's ruling against it in the co-location case, according to an official. You'll find details on that case, including an interview with NSE's head Vikram Limaye on the website bloombergquint.com. Now, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has approached the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal after certain banks failed to release funds needed to maintain a going concern status of companies within the Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Services Group. In an affidavit filed before the NCLAT on Tuesday, the MCA on behalf of the IL&FS Group sought directions from the tribunal to certain banks that are refusing to release funds. The banks include Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Union Bank of India, Oriental Bank of Commerce and Allahabad Bank. In international news, in the US, President Donald Trump's long-standing battle with Democrats in Congress is coming close to boiling point yet again. The White House has asserted immunity in directing former counsel Don McGahn not to appear before the House today. Democrats won a judgment yesterday which said lawmakers have the power to demand the president's financial records, something that he's been battling for some time, and a decision that Trump said that he would appeal. Theresa May has made a final desperate gamble to get her Brexit deal through the British Parliament before she's thrown out of office, but her efforts looked doomed to fail. In what seemed to be a hastily arranged speech, the Prime Minister promised to give members of Parliament a vote on whether to call another referendum to ratify Britain's split from the European Union. It's something that many MPs have been calling for, but she made it conditional on them backing her deal first. What about international markets? Well, US equities bounced back yesterday after the US decided to grant limited relief for consumers and carriers that do business with Huawei technologies. That's a day after the White House's moves against the Chinese telecom giant caused tech stocks to fall globally. The Commerce Department has granted a 90-day relief for certain US broadband companies and wireless customers using Huawei Technologies equipment. Asian markets are mixed at this point, and perhaps a clearer direction will become evident once the Chinese markets open as well. Well, with that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India. Morning, Agam. How are we looking today?
Good morning, Alex, and good morning, listeners. Well, it may very well be a tricky day of trade today, considering we did see the indices come off by as much as 100 points yesterday, but the SGX Nifty today is indicating a positive start. As far as today's day of trade is concerned, we're keeping an eye on Cipla and IndusInd Bank in terms of the big earnings from the Nifty 50. Last evening, we had earnings from Tech Mahindra, and it was a little bit of a disappointing quarter considering revenues rose 0.6% in dollar terms, with margins coming off substantially to 15.4% against 16.1%, and profitability declining 6.6%. All three numbers missing street estimates. Jindal Steel and Power's earnings were in line, with revenues rising 18%. However, we did see a net loss of 2,145 crores against a loss of 308 crores, but that was essentially because of an exceptional loss of 1,734 crores. It was a steady quarter for Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals as well, where revenues rose 7.2%, but that's largely on the back of electric consumer durables segment. We also had strong earnings from KEI Industries, where revenues rose 22% and net profit rose 21%. In other news, and perhaps some disappointing news for shareholders of Diwan Housing Finance, well, the company has decided to stop taking fresh deposits and halted premature withdrawals from existing deposit schemes as it tries to manage its tight liquidity position and deal with pressures on credit ratings. IDFC First Bank will also be in focus after ICRA downgrades its long-term ratings of the bank to AA from AA+. The ratings downgrade considers IDFC First Bank's weak earnings profile given the elevated cost-to-income ratio because of the ongoing branch expansion. Now, these are just some of the stocks you can keep an eye on as we move into trade today. But for more, don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a lovely day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.